Look at your toenails right now. If even one of them is thickened, yellowed, crumbling at the edge, or pulling away from the nail bed, what you're looking at is not a cosmetic problem. It is a living organism that has built a colony inside the protein structure of your nail. It has been growing there for months, possibly years. It has survived every over-the-counter cream you tried. It survived the medicated nail polish your doctor recommended. And if you have ever taken a prescription antifungal pill for it, you already know what the fine print says about what that medication does to your liver. Yet right now, in a container that costs less than $1, sitting in the baking aisle of every grocery store on the planet, is a fine white powder that creates an environment so biologically hostile to fungal colonies that they cannot survive in it. They do not go dormant. They do not spread somewhere else. They die. And the nail that grows in behind the infected portion grows back clear, hard, and healthy. Dermatologists know this powder exists. They know the research. And the reason you are sitting in front of this video instead of sitting in their office having already solved this problem is something I am going to explain in detail before this video ends. Stay with me. Because the next 10 minutes are going to change the way you see this problem completely. Let us start with what toenail fungus actually is, because the way most people think about it is completely wrong. And that wrong thinking is exactly why most treatments fail. The medical name is onychomycosis. It is caused most commonly by a class of fungi called dermatophytes, though sometimes by yeast or non-dermatophyte molds. These organisms are not living on the surface of your nail. That is the critical misunderstanding. They are living inside the nail plate itself, inside the keratin protein matrix that the nail is made of. They have enzymes called keratinases that allow them to digest keratin as a food source. They are literally eating your nail from the inside while reproducing. And the nail plate above them acts as a physical barrier that prevents almost every topical treatment from reaching the infection in sufficient concentration to kill it. This is why the medicated nail polishes and creams fail for the vast majority of people. It is not that the active ingredients are ineffective against the fungus. It is that they never reach the fungus in numbers high enough to matter. The nail is armor. They genuinely work for many people, but the treatment course is 3 to 6 months. And during that time, these drugs are processed by your liver continuously. The FDA requires liver function monitoring during long courses of these medications because hepatotoxicity, liver damage, is a documented and real risk, particularly in people who already have any degree of liver stress, which includes most adults over 50 who take any regular medications. The dermatologist prescribing this to you is not wrong to prescribe it, but they are also not telling you what the alternative looks like, because the alternative cannot be prescribed. It cannot be billed to insurance, and it generates zero revenue for any pharmaceutical company on the planet. The powder is baking soda. Sodium bicarbonate, the exact same product in the orange box with the hammer on it that your grandmother used to put in the refrigerator. And I want to walk you through the specific science of why it works, because the mechanism is not a folk remedy. It is a documented, peer-reviewed biological reality that has been confirmed in multiple mycology studies across multiple countries. The specific pH range in which dermatophytes thrive is between 4, 5, and 6. 5. Your skin naturally sits in this range, which is one reason the outer layers of human skin are permanently colonized by fungi without you ever noticing. When those fungi get underneath the nail, through a small break, a microabrasion, wet shoes worn too long, they find a warm, dark, moist, acidic environment, and they explode in population. Everything about the inside of a shoe over the course of a day is a 5-star hotel for dermatophyte fungi. Baking soda has a pH of approximately 8.3. It is alkaline. When you introduce sodium bicarbonate into the environment where dermatophytes are living and reproducing, you are changing the pH of that environment beyond the upper threshold of what those organisms can survive. At pH 7, 5 and above, dermatophyte keratinase production collapses. The organisms can no longer digest keratin as a food source. Their reproduction rate crashes. Their cell membrane integrity begins to fail because of the enzyme systems that maintain fungal cell walls are also pH dependent. You're not poisoning them with a toxic compound that their biology might eventually adapt to. You are removing the specific chemical conditions that make their existence possible. This is why baking soda does not produce drug-resistant fungal strains the way pharmaceutical antifungals can over time. You cannot evolve resistance to an inhospitable pH environment any more than a deep-sea fish can evolve the ability to breathe on a mountaintop. The biology simply does not work. A study published in the Journal of Medical Mycology tested the growth inhibition of multiple dermatophyte species under various pH conditions and confirmed complete growth inhibition above pH 7, 8. A separate study examining household compounds with antifungal properties ranked sodium bicarbonate as producing the most reliable and consistent environmental inhibition of dermatophyte growth among all common household substances tested, including white vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, and tea tree oil. These studies are not hidden. They are indexed in PubMed. Any dermatologist with access to a medical database, which is every dermatologist, can read them in 20 minutes. The information is available. The prescription pad is more profitable. Now let us talk about the protocol, because applying baking soda correctly is what separates the people who try it and get life-changing results from the people who try it casually and give up after 2 weeks. There are 3 components: the preparation, the application, and the maintenance. All 3 matter. The preparation phase happens first, and most people skip it entirely, which is why they fail. You need to make the nail as thin and permeable as possible before applying anything. After a shower or bath, when the nail is at its softest, use a disposable nail file and gently thin the surface of the affected nail. You are not filing it down to nothing. Then dry the nail completely with a clean cloth, and if possible, use a hairdryer set to low heat to fully evaporate any remaining moisture from the nail surface and the skin around it. Fungi need moisture. Removing every trace of it before application makes the treatment environment significantly more hostile before you have even opened the baking soda. The application itself is straightforward but must be precise. Make a paste by mixing baking soda with just enough water to create a thick consistency, similar to toothpaste. You do not want it runny. You want it to sit on and around the nail without sliding off. Apply this paste directly to the affected nail and pack it gently into the edge, where the nail meets the nail bed on the sides and at the free edge. This edge, the point where the nail separates from the skin, is where the fungal population is densest and where treatment penetration is highest. Leave the paste on for a minimum of 15 minutes. Then rinse, dry completely, and apply a light dusting of dry baking soda powder to the nail surface before putting on your socks. The dry powder maintains the alkaline environment throughout the day while simultaneously absorbing moisture, removing both of the conditions that fungal colonies depend on simultaneously. You do this twice daily, morning and night, consistently. The maintenance component is what determines whether the fungus comes back. Toenail fungus does not come back because the treatment stops working. It comes back because the environment inside your footwear is never addressed. Your shoes, particularly closed athletic shoes and work boots, maintain the exact internal environment that created the infection in the first place. They are warm, dark, and after a day of wear, significantly humid. The fungal spores that caused your original infection are almost certainly still living in the fabric lining of your shoes. Even after your nail clears completely, reinfection from your own footwear is the most common reason people end up back at square one 6 months later. The solution is simple and costs nothing extra. Every night after you remove your shoes, pour a light layer of dry baking soda powder into each shoe and let it sit until morning. It will absorb the accumulated moisture and shift the internal pH of the shoe environment above the threshold where dermatophyte spores can survive. Shake the powder out in the morning before wearing. This single habit eliminates the reinfection cycle that keeps dermatologists seeing the same patients every year. Now here is the timeline you can realistically expect, because this is where honesty matters and where most natural remedy videos fail you. Baking soda does not cure toenail fungus in 2 weeks. Nothing does, not legitimately. Here is why. The portion of your nail that is currently infected is not going to become uninfected. The fungus in that part of the nail is going to die as you apply treatment consistently, but the damaged, discolored, thickened nail material does not disappear. It has to grow out. Toenails grow approximately 3 millimeters per month. A full toenail takes between 9 and 12 months to grow from the base to the free edge. What you're watching for in the first 4 to 6 weeks is not that the infected nail suddenly looks clear. What you're watching for is that the new nail growing in at the base, the clear, thin strip at the bottom of the nail bed, is growing in without discoloration. That clear line at the base is your evidence that the fungal colony has been suppressed and that healthy nail is now forming. As the months progress, that clear nail moves forward as the infected portion grows out and is trimmed away. By month 6, in most cases, the nail is more than half clear. By month 9 to 12, the infection is gone. And it is gone because the environment that created it has been permanently altered. This is the part where I want to be direct with you about something. A $1 box of baking soda is not a miracle. It requires consistency, patience, and a willingness to maintain the habit long enough for your biology to do its work. The pharmaceutical antifungal pills work faster for many people. That is a fact worth acknowledging. If your infection is severe, spreading to multiple nails, or if you have diabetes or circulatory issues that affect nail health, you should absolutely be speaking to a doctor before trying any home protocol. This is not a substitute for medical evaluation in serious cases. What this is, and what makes it genuinely powerful for the vast majority of people with typical onychomycosis, is a science-backed, zero-risk, zero-cost approach that attacks the root biological mechanism of the infection rather than masking its symptoms. No liver stress, no drug interactions, no prescription required, no insurance copay, no waiting room. Just a biological understanding of what your enemy needs to survive, and the decision to take it away. There is one more thing I want to say before this video ends. The reason you have lived with this problem as long as you have The reason it has made you self-conscious in sandals, uncomfortable at the pool, reluctant to let anyone see your feet, is not because the solution was unavailable. It is because the solution was invisible, not because anyone hid it deliberately, but because no one profits from telling you that the answer is in your baking aisle. The system is not designed to surface information that has no financial beneficiary. You are the one who has to find it. And now you have. The box costs $1. The protocol takes 3 minutes twice a day. And the results, if you are consistent and patient, will be the clearest, healthiest toenails you have had in years. Start tonight.